It's time now for your weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news. This is the Southwest Outdoors Report.
Hi everybody and welcome into this week's show. Glad you're along with us because we are headed into my favorite time of the year to go fishing. Fall is a great time for all species around the Southwest region. On today's show, we're going to demonstrate some techniques that will help you catch them right through the upcoming months until it gets really cold. To help us demonstrate, I'd like to welcome you into one of my favorite lakes. This is Lake Murray. It's located in the south part of Oklahoma, south central, just south of Ardmore, Oklahoma. The lake has got walleye, crappie, catfish, largemouth bass, and my favorite of all, the smallmouth bass. So we're gonna look around, try to find a few techniques that will help you catch some, and we're going around the region for your latest fishing reports from Texas, freshwater and saltwater, Louisiana, fresh and saltwater, the state of Oklahoma. Right now, let's get this started back at the FSN studios where Julie has your weekend planner.
Bad news for you weekend anglers. Overall, the fishing tables are indicating poor conditions for both Saturday and Sunday. The best chances for game fish activity during daylight hours appear to be in the mid-afternoon. Expect sunrise to occur at 7:05 and the sun to set at 5:22. And evenings will feature a waning moon 60% illuminated. We'll be right back with all the latest freshwater and coastal fishing information from around our region. Plus, I'll catch up with fishing legend Kevin Van Dam for an answer to this week's Whataburger Ask the Pro question. First, though, we want to show off some of the entries for our Costa Catch of the Week contest. These aren't actual winners, but if you sent in a photo, look close and you might see yourself on TV.
Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Exide AGM Marine Batteries. Starts like new, stays like new longer. By Jean LaRue and Bobby Garland Lures. With our baits, a good day of fishing is in the bag. By Motor Guide Trolling Motors, engineered for anglers. And by Nitro Performance Bass Boats, pure performance.
Do I have on a spinnerbait? It's a bass, of course. All right, that will get it started right there. That's a largemouth. And welcome back, everybody. You're on your Southwest Outdoors Report and demonstrating for you a few things you can do to catch bass in the fall time. Here's the thing. The first thing is that's a 2.5 pounder. And it goes right back in the lake. The bass are keying on shad right now, and they're pushing up shallow. So you want to fish a moving bait and something that gives some flash, some vibration, and imitates a wounded or crippled shad. Spinnerbait does that. That's a Strike King Premier Plus spinnerbait. Very premium top-end spinnerbait. It's white in color, you'll notice, kind of a pearl white with a nickel blade. That's a willow leaf blade, the front of it, or actually at the back of it, and then a little brass Colorado blade in the front of it. Gives off a lot of flash, a lot of vibration, top-end components in this spinnerbait. And going into the fall months, that's a great way to do it. Let me show you two things here at Lake Murray. The first one is I'm going to show you a quick shot here of some shallow grass. This is shallow weed. It's a pond weed, I believe, but it's some real leafy stuff that grows up in about 6 feet of water. Sometimes the bass will be that shallow. Sometimes they'll be deeper on the next kind of grass. This is hydrilla. It grows on out to about 18 feet. Those are two keys for catching good fall bass all the way up until cold weather hits. Hey, before we get to our first fishing reports though, something much more important than that fish or this lake or any fishing. Here's the deal. It's news. 2 of our team members here on the Southwest Outdoors Report, for many years as a matter of fact, are experiencing some real challenges right now. First of all, Cajun Phil just lost his wife a couple of weeks ago to a short battle with cancer. His beloved Reno Red passed away just a few weeks ago. And one thing we're going to do, we're going to put up a message board so that you can post some words of encouragement for Cajun Phil. The second piece of news is that our own Julie Dobbs, who does our weekend planner at the beginning of each week's show and our Ask the Pro feature at the end of each week's show, has just been diagnosed with a rare form of breast cancer. So she is in the battle of her life right now against this disease. And you can do two things actually to help her. First of all, you can read her blog that she puts up, and you can keep up with Julie's latest news as she tells us what's going on in her battle. And secondly, you can donate to help offset some of her medical expenses. Now here's what we've done. Go to the front page of our website at southwestoutdoorsreport.com. Right in the middle of the front page is the latest news section. In that, you can click on a link to post an encouragement message to Cajun Phil, and you can also click on the Julie Dobbs page, and from there you can post an encouragement message to her, and also you can read her blog and help offset some of her medical expenses. Some of her friends have put that donation page together. It all keys off the latest news segment right in the front of our front page at southwestoutdoorsreport.com. All right, let's go to some fishing reports now, and let's go to Texas Freshwater Reports with Brian Hughes, followed by Bill Olson in saltwater.
Hi folks, on this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Johnson's Fiberglass and Collision, we're going to explore the Northeast. Well, Northeast Texas anyway, because we're going to Cypress Springs and Bob Sandlin, where you'll find a great topwater bite on both lakes for the largemouth bass. Start at the mouth of the creeks, work your way about halfway back. If that doesn't produce fish, keep going a little bit, you'll find them eventually. Now, if we get a nice, bright, sunny day, the topwater bite's gonna play out pretty early. You'll want to transition to subsurface baits like either a spinnerbait in 1/4 ounce with willow leaf blades, or use your Senkos and other jerkbait type baits on this lake. Now, you can also use a frog, but don't drag it along on the very surface. Let it sink just a little bit on a weighted hook and you'll get more bites. For crappie, find the brush. Let me say that again. For crappie, find the brush. On both lakes, you'll find crappie hanging out over brush piles in about 15 feet of water. Using your crappie jigs or your minnows are your best techniques, obviously, for these fish on these two lakes. That's this week's Lone Star Lakes, brought to you by Johnson's Fiberglass Collision Repair. Now let's check in with Mr. Bill Olson. You'll find him on the coast.
Hi folks, this week's report is brought to you by Port Aransas on Mustang Island, the fishing capital of Texas, where anglers enjoy pristine bays, estuaries, 18 miles of surf, and the deep blue waters of the Gulf of Mexico. Plus the local restaurants will even cook your catch come sundown. Come fish and play Texas Island style. For more information, visit portaransas.org. Well, after a brief warm-up this week, this weekend sees another cold front arrive along the Texas coast, and temperatures will be below average through at least the end of November. The latest chill down will come with winds that will blow more bait into the bays, increasing the bird activity from Sabine to West Matagorda. The chill down will also further stimulate flounder with their fall run well underway. With falling water temperatures, look for the deeper shell to continue to be a good go-to option in addition to chasing birds. Use light jig heads or slow sinking baits around the shell reefs. Deep shell and channels continue to be a good option along the middle coast. Anglers playing the rising and falling tides on Barrier Island's back lakes have been rewarded. Topwater lures as well as soft plastics have caught trout. Redfish continue to work the shorelines as well as the flats. Reds are also being caught around the jetties at Port O'Connor, Port Aransas, Packery, and Port Isabel. Now, the crash channels, the boat hole, and Humble Channel are giving up specs to corkies or live mullet. On the lower coast, Longbar has given up good reds and some trout on topwater lures and cut bait. The causeways have some trout and sheep's head hitting live shrimp. The ship channel has given up small drum, mangrove snapper, and some snook on live shrimp, mullet, and soft plastics. This weekend, both Saturday and Sunday have a single tide schedule of 1 high and 1 low tide each day. I'm Bill Olson, and I'll see you on the coast.
Grass beds all over the place out here, big grass beds. Got him. Walleye, big walleye or big bass. What is that? Big bass. Look at this. I saw that fish come up. Don't get off, don't get off. Look at that ugly fish. Mercy sakes, good grief. That fish is skinny. He hasn't eaten in a month, it looks like. Man, if that fish had been eating, he would weigh about 7 pounds, but instead it weighs about 4.5, something like that. Man, we better let him go back before, so he can go get him something to chomp on. See you, buddy. Pitched that spinnerbait back out there and got bit again. So, welcome back, everybody. We're on Lake Murray today. I've more fished it in the summertime when the fish have been schooling around. There's nothing schooling right now. So we'll see what happens here. Throwing a spinnerbait. I've got a jig on for fishing back a little bit deeper. And if I have to, I'm gonna show you a little drop shot rig and how we can pull off deeper. If these fish get finicky once the sun gets straight up overhead, they move back out deeper. You can almost force feed them with a drop shot rig. Talking about fall techniques, water temperature around our region right now is in the low 60s for the most part. And the bass can be really aggressive when the water temperature is in that range. The one thing that's happening around our region though is a lake turnover. The surface temperature, which has been really hot all summer, begins to cool off. It gets lighter than the water down below it, and it actually sinks. And what it does is just churns up the bottom, makes the water kind of off color and kind of messy, and messes the fishing up for a little while. They don't like to bite during that. So you have to keep an eye on the turnover in the fall. All right, we've got something working here, and weeds, look right here. This is that pond weed stuff I was talking about. That's the stuff, the shallow stuff that's in about 6 feet of water, and that's where that big bad boy was, right there. Let's get you some fishing reports now. Let's go to Cajun Phil and Kevin.
Hey friends, Captain Kevin Broussard here with your Fox Sports Louisiana Outdoor Report. We're talking saltwater fishing, we're talking the coast of Louisiana. Specifically, we're talking Calcasieu Lake fall flounder action. I'll tell you what, Captain Charlie McGee was out today. As you can see, they caught a limit of flounder, throwing soft plastics, tipping it with shrimp along the ship channel. These fronts are coming through, the water temperature's dropping. Mother Nature's telling these flounder it's time to head towards the mouth of the jetties and go spawn. So for the next few weeks, the flounder fishing is going to be great. If y'all want to book a trip, the number's up on the screen. Call Cajun Phil or Cajun Paradise Lodge and Charters. Right now, we're going to turn it over to old Cajun Phil, see what's going on in the bass scene.
Tell you what, friends, as far as the bass fishing goes, it's been really good the last few days. Anyway, we talked to a couple of anglers. They're good friends of ours. They were up fishing Caddo Lake. Now, they were fishing the Louisiana side, but I'm sure the Texas side was just as good. They caught lots of bass. They said they caught 20, 25 bass. They caught them on spinnerbaits. They were throwing 1/4-ounce spinnerbaits, one gold blade, one silver blade. They said it didn't matter whether it's a white skirt or a chartreuse skirt. So Caddo Lake, I asked them how deep. They said 3 to 5 foot of water. And friends, I want to thank all of our viewers who's sent me the sympathy cards, who's given me the phone calls, who's emailed me about the sudden loss of my beautiful Reno redhead. I want to thank each and every one of you for all the thoughts and all the prayers, and may God bless. Till next time, this is Cajun Phil for Captain Kevin, saying happy fishing or hunting, and may God bless.
Got one. Whoa, 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 whoa. Come up here, right beside the boat. All right. There's one more bass on a spinnerbait. They are eating the spinnerbait now. I'm telling you, this spinnerbait has been the ticket today. Fall is a great time to throw a spinnerbait. And there's one more for you right there. Let me mention something to you right quick. If you're coming right here to Lake Murray, to my knowledge, there's only one boat ramp left in the water, and that's actually at the marina. So if you're coming here, just be aware that the marina is the last place available to launch it. If it drops much more, this lake may not be accessible to boat ramps. But this is the time of the year when you can catch them off the shore. So get out here, go to the state park, wade the shoreline, walk the shoreline, throw that spinnerbait. I think you can catch some. Stay with us. We'll be right back to southern Oklahoma.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Mercury, the official outboard of the Southwest Outdoors Report for 11 years running. By Academy, right stuff, low price, every day. By Tracker Boats, fish the finest. And by Whataburger, just like you like it.
There's one. All right, I got one on a drop shot. Come up, smallmouth. or not. Largemouth. There he comes. All right, a little fatty. Okay, well, we've had to resort to some tiny tactics here. The fishing's gotten tough. The sun's gotten high up overhead, and the water's clear, and we've got high pressure today, and all three of those factors sometimes will make the fish go deeper and get finicky. So the weed bed and the grass bed tactics that I mentioned earlier have stopped working. And so now we're down to a drop shot rig. You see the little Finesse worm, the little salt head shaky worm by LaRue, and there's the drop shot rig right there. All right, well, that fish goes back. So you have to adapt to whatever the tactics or whatever the conditions are telling you. And what they're telling me right now is that everything's moved deeper and gotten a lot more subtle and a lot more finicky, so you downsize. And a lot of times that will put fish in the boat. The things that we did earlier, big line, bigger baits, spinner baits, big jig, those kind of things. When this happens right here, you adapt. All right, let's get you some more fishing reports this week. How about that? Let's go to Oklahoma, the rest of Oklahoma, where we are today. Check in with Gary Dollar.
Hey, I keep telling you that November is a great fishing month in Oklahoma, and the reports coming in from across the state are only reinforcing that fact. Big smallmouth bass are being caught at Lake 10 Killer at this time, and I continue to get in many good crappie reports from several places across the state. Some big fish are showing up right now as well, which also is not unusual for the month of November. In fact, just this past Sunday at Little Lake Watonga in Romano State Park, Mark Reed of Blanchard was taking advantage of the fact that Watonga is one of several Oklahoma lakes that starts getting a rainbow trout stocking the November 1 of each year. He's throwing a small super duper on his Zebco 202, ties into and lands a new state record rainbow trout, 10 pounds, 11 ounces, a gorgeous fish. Congratulations, Mark, on that catch. Now, I talked to Greg Summers, who's the director of the Oklahoma Fishery Research Laboratory. Greg tells me that fish most likely was stocked as a brood fish of 2 or 3 pounds several years ago. A couple of weeks ago on Grand Lake, John Bond was bottom fishing 60 foot of water for blue cats, had several in the boat, when he ties into something big. 15 minutes later, he gets his giant paddlefish to the top. He knows the lake record and the state records are well over 100 pounds. He thinks this fish is going to push that, goes to a lot of effort to keep this fish alive, goes in, has the official weight, 96.9 pounds, does release the fish back into the water, watches it swim off in great shape. John, beautiful fish, great job on the catch and release there. Oklahoma fishing in November, you need to take advantage of it, but one thing about it, you can't catch them if you don't go.
The Southwest Outdoors Report is brought to you by Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. By Lubes, setting a new standard in fishing performance. Feel the difference. By Strand Fishing Lines, the standard of dependability. And by Strike King Lures, #1 in fishing.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Whataburger Ask the Pro, where viewers have a chance to get insider tips from professional anglers. This week's question comes to us from Keith in Texas, who wonders, what happens to a hook after it's swallowed by a fish? It's a really good question. To find the answer, we checked with 4-time Classic champion Kevin Van Dam.
You know, if you hook a fish really deep, I really want to try to get that hook out if I can, but if you just can't get at it, you're better off just to cut it off as close as you can to that hook and let that fish go and give them a chance, you know, to get that hook out of there on their own. You know, their stomach acid is very strong, and even with, you know, a chemically, you know, black nickel, you know, super sharp hook that we have out there today, you know, in a matter of less than 2 weeks, that hook can be gone. You know, if you hit a major artery, there's probably nothing you're going to be able to do. But that fish has a lot better chance of surviving than if you have to really work to dig that hook out of there. So just cut it off as close as you can and give that fish the best chance it has that it can survive.
Thanks, Kevin. If you need help from one of the pros, go to southwestoutdoorsreport.com, follow the Ask the Pro link, and submit your question. Now let's see who wins a new pair of sunglasses on the Costa Catch of the Week.
Congratulations to this week's Costa Catch of the Week winner. He is Thomas Warnock of Athens, Texas, shown here with a big South Texas tarpon. That's right, we have tarpon in Texas. down on the Gulf of Mexico, and he caught this bad boy on a bass rod and 12-pound test line. How's that for sport? If you would like to have your chance to win your very own pair of Costa sunglasses like Thomas does on this week's episode, simply go to our website at southwestouttdoorsreport.com. On the right-hand side of the front page, click in the Costa Catch of the Week box, fill in the information requested, and you could be our next winner of a pair of Costa sunglasses where you can see all of their frame and lens styles by clicking on the Costa logo right on the front page, again, of our website. Next up on the Academy Sports and Outdoors Right Stuff feature, the right gear for catching fall bass, not only here at Murray, but around the rest of our region as well. They really hammered the Strike King Premier Plus spinnerbait. I showed it to you up close and personal a little bit earlier. The other key for doing this weed bed fishing and grass bed fishing like we did today, these Costa sunglasses. This is the Galveston frame style with the 580 lenses. Best lenses ever made, and I guarantee you, you cannot see what I can see if you don't have a pair of these. I can see those subtle color changes underwater. You can barely see the tops of those deep grass beds down there. You can roll that spinnerbait by those drop-off edges by seeing them first down in the water with your Costas. They are critical if you're going to do this deep grass bed style fishing with a spinnerbait like we caught the fish on today's show. Next up on Stuff That Matters, I just want to remind you once again that you can send notes of encouragement, comments of support to our Louisiana reporter, Cajun Phil, who just lost his wife, and to Julie Dobbs, who's battling breast cancer. Of course, she does our weekend planner and Ask the Pro features right here on the show. Just go to the front page of our website, southwestouttdoorsreport.com. Look right there on the front page in the latest news segment and click on either one of those links to go to the two walls, the comment boards that we have set up. Both of them would appreciate your encouragement. Don't forget that you can catch our show next week in its normal time slot, 10:30 Thursday night. No interference with any live sports events next Thursday night. And then the show re-airs Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, Fox Sports Southwest. And of course, we air Wednesday mornings on Fox Sports South. You can always catch the latest episode of our show 24/7 on the front page of our website, where you can also click on the YouTube channel and get all the past archived episodes of our show. You can always catch up, and you can click on the Facebook logo to get lots of news and video and photos that we don't have time for here on the television show. I hope you've enjoyed our trip to Lake Murray in south central Oklahoma, south of Ardmore on this week's show. Use some of these tips that we've exhibited on the show today, and you can catch some bass right through the fall months until that water temperature drops below 50 degrees. These techniques will work. From south central Oklahoma until next week, I'm Barry Stokes. Be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.